Hello, everybody. A big welcome if you're here live. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching the show today. I just wanted to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Hopefully you're having some time with family and friends and enjoying the holiday season. Here in Thailand, it really doesn't look much like a Christmas, but I'm quite used to the warm holidays. I haven't been in Canada for a number of years. I was thinking the other day, I think it's been about 5 years. So I'm envious if you are in the snow region. And yeah, please do say hi in the chat if you are watching live. There will be like a live chat on the right-hand side. So say hello. And if you're watching the replay and you've got any questions about anything that we talk about today in the show, please leave them in the comment section. And I would love to be able to respond to you and engage with you. We've got a few people showing up here, which is awesome. I just wanted to clarify something in the intro video there that I did. There is an incorrect slide about my course, which is Launch Going Solo. And you'll see the dates there. This is the slide that I did on the very first one. If you are interested in grabbing that course, you can do that at onlineteacherdude.com/launch. It isn't a live course anymore, but it is available if you would like to go through it at your own pace. Maybe it's something that you want to do over the holidays or something that you want to do in the new year. The only difference is you won't get the live Zoom calls, but the course that's up right now has the recorded Zoom calls from my previous course that I just finished wrapping up a week ago. So I've had a few people emailing me about the course. It is available. Everything is there, all the resources, all the links. I'm available for your support if you need anything throughout the course, but maybe this is a Christmas present you want to give to yourself to help you go independent if that's something that you want to do. Hello, Irmela. Good to have you. Irmela was in my course not that long ago. And Jerry, hello. Hey, Patricia, live from Pennsylvania. Does it snow in Pennsylvania? I think it does. Hello from Georgia. I'm on a break from brick and mortar. That's awesome, Meredith. Hey, Kelly, envious of your warm Christmas. Yeah, I have so much to be grateful for with the warm weather here. But when you have lived in it for as long as I have, well, maybe you wouldn't get tired of it. But I miss the season change. When I lived in Canada, I certainly got sick of the snow, but I definitely, I miss the seasons changing. I'd probably love to be back for Christmas winter for a couple of weeks and then leave again. That's always the best way. So I'm really excited to have John Carlson on. John is the founder of Kid-Inspired. I did a video about 3 months ago, I guess now, when maybe a little bit longer actually, when all of this went on with the ESL company crash in China, and teachers were looking for curriculum options. And Kid-Inspired came across my radar, I think probably in a Facebook group or something like that, and did some research, connected with John, really great guy, and just has a wealth of knowledge about teaching ESL and has a lot of resources that are really fantastic for online ESL independent teachers. We'll get into that in a second, but the links for everything that we're going to talk about, his website, his support for independent teachers, and my course and anything I talk about is in the description of the video. So if you're wondering what was that they said, just look in the video description and you will see it there. So let's see if anyone else is popping in here since I was last looking. Hi, Kathleen. Good to have you from Michigan. Yes, very cool. Yeah, most of the brick and mortar teachers are probably on holiday now. So gosh, I can't even believe that Christmas is 1, 2, 3, 4 on Saturday. It is coming up quickly. But let's get into the interview. We're going to be talking about, I titled it Independent Teaching Outside of China and what happens if China blocks us, because this is a real possibility in some regards. I mean, I don't necessarily see it happening anytime soon, but I think that as independent teachers, we need to be prepared for it. So I'm going to bring up John, just check if he's ready, and then we will get going here. All right, good stuff. So let's add John. Hi, John.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me on.
Good to have you. Thank you so much. I know you're in Taiwan, and it's late. Actually, it's the normal time that I normally do these lives. So I was actually also quite happy to bump it up an hour and have you on at this time. So anyway, thanks for staying up a little bit later to hang out with us. And I know that people that watch this video and that have followed me and this independent teaching journey have definitely heard about Kid-Inspired. So love for you to introduce yourself. Where are you? What have you done in the teaching world, and what are you doing now?
Well, I am currently in Taipei, Taiwan, and it is nice, mostly nice weather here as well. Although we're
Yeah.
supposed to have a pretty cold Christmas, so
Oh,
I
okay.
was telling my wife just the other day that I thought, it's possible these days that we may get some snow.
Oh, wow.
Unlikely, I guess, but it does sometimes up in the mountains, and I do. I miss the cold weather at times too for Christmas. Albeit
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to live somewhere where it was cold any longer either. I ended up here in Taiwan back in about 2005, and my wife and I started a small, after school program here in Taipei. It was a brick and mortar school, and we, hired teachers and, bought the books for the students and started teaching. And, very quickly felt like the books just weren't really meeting the needs of the students, helping them to stay engaged and to learn the content well. And so, about a year or so after we started the school, I started writing the curriculum. And of course, when you start writing your own content, I'm sure, as most teachers know, you finish it, and it's kind of like this baby wrapped in swaddling clothes, for the Christmas
Yeah.
metaphor. And
Yes, true.
you like, pass it so ever so gently on to the teachers, and you're like, this, I've created this. And then they
Yes.
get it, and they use it a bit, and they're like, yeah, this is all right. This is okay.
Yeah.
This works. This is very good. And it's just like, I just shot through the heart kind of feeling of having all of your you know bubbles punctured. And
Yeah.
it was at those moments where I really had to do a lot of pride checking and take all of their feedback and go back and rework the content over and over and over again. And I did over and over and over again. The staff at our school hated me because we could never order
Mm.
bulk textbooks because I was always rewriting them based on
Oh,
what the teachers were saying. And it became this sort of like routine where each semester we would kind of sit down, we'd talk about what was working, what wasn't, and continue, revising them until, they became, fairly helpful to most of the teachers that use them. And then in around 2018, we started, seeing more news articles about the potential of China, uh, you know, invading Taiwan and some of that kind of stuff that's still, very much part of the news now. And I felt like there isn't any way if we had to leave quickly that we could take this school with us. And so I really wanted to have a sort of a backup plan, and that's why I started Kid-Inspired Classroom. And I knew, through having interacted with people online that there was a need for materials, around the world. Particularly my, with Kid-Inspired Classroom, my particular audience was teachers in the U.S. who are teaching English learners in the classroom.
hmm.
And then just recently, with the big changes with China, there was this large influx of online teachers who are asking all these questions that this can be used online. And I was like, I don't know. Like,
Maybe.
sure, I guess. And really through sort of talking with a lot of online teachers and did that same process, listening and trying to understand, and we launched into creating horizontal landscape versions of all of the resources, and we're about halfway through the curriculum now, and we'll continue. And then now taking that a step further, and we're creating interactive versions of the resources, and that's something that we're really excited about, and are hopefully we'll have available in the near future. So that's I don't know, quick
Awesome.
overview.
Thanks, John. And when we first connected, like you were kind of in the early stages, I think, of making that transition. And
Yeah.
one of the things I said to you was, I love it. It's not landscape, and I wasn't quite sure how to work with it. But I've been a lurker inside, and I see you've done a lot of work, a ton of work on, moving all those resources into more user-friendly interfaces for online stuff. And the cool thing is there's also Nearpod lessons, it seems like, with almost every one of your, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even believe that the amount of work that would take to get all that done.
There's a lot.
But so yeah, I've got your website there. If you're interested in the Kid-Inspired curriculum, do go check that out. But I wanted to talk to you, John, about your support with platform teachers. And we were talking earlier about, before the live, about, this has been a wonderful opportunity for a lot of teachers to be able to sort of not have to go out and look for students because they've already got them. I mean, banging on the door, waving money in front of them to, hey, how can we continue? So the marketing side of this has been fairly easy for many because of, just what's going on. And actually even growing can be quite easy too through different means
Referrals.
And just word of mouth. Exactly. Referrals. The industry is there. But what if, things happened and you kind of lost that connection? Like China is a very closed off place for business and with all the things that have gone on with the language companies, there's a lot of teachers that are still apprehensive about what's going on. So, I guess what in your eyes or mind could independent teachers do to prepare for that? Because in case, something like Stripe is unable to integrate WeChat. I mean, this is just a simple, concrete example. It's the best payment way right now to get paid by Chinese clients, in my opinion. But what if something happened there? What if, WeChat regulations change the way that we talked with our parents? So do you have any ideas around that? I know you do a little bit of support inside your membership with that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
It has been a big question. Well, that's been more of a question in the independent teacher membership. There are two. And that is something that's, I feel concerned about the teachers that I've been working with kind of having all of their eggs in that Chinese basket. Because I think, the payment processing is one area where, if China decided they didn't want to continue letting Stripe take payments, or if WeChat or Alipay decided that they weren't going to continue with that cooperation with Stripe, then it would be very difficult to take payments. But that's not the only area. If sites like Zoom or other live teaching software sites were blocked, you wouldn't be able to have live classes. Or if communication channels were blocked, like with WeChat, it would be challenging to communicate. And I feel like any of those things could be possible, though I would agree, I don't think it's probably likely in the near future. You never know. And you don't want to be in a similar situation, that VIP Kid found themselves in, and, out in the cold again, especially if you've put, you're putting a lot of time and really want to continue doing an independent online teaching business. I think it's just much better idea to kind of spread out, cast that net in a few other locations to find students and to have some connections. And if you start that process now, it may not be urgent, and you can kind of take your time with it and slowly kind of build over time. And then if something happened, you'd be ready. I do think there's a lot of strategies you could use to start that process now. And I think part of it, I think, is just focusing on building connections with parents, depending on your audience. One, if you are, seeking to serve parents of, K-12 kids, which many of the teachers coming out of VIP Kid and some of the other companies, that's kind of what their focus is. Let's assume for a minute that's the audience we choose, though it does not necessarily need to be that audience. There's a lot of options out there, a lot of flexibility as to what kind of online teaching business you could start and the kinds of things you could teach online. But let's go ahead and stay with the ESL market, K-12 at the moment. There is the need to build relationships with people online, and I think that for many online teachers in the past, the companies were the ones who did that. The companies found the parents and built the connections and built the trust, and that trust was transferred over to you as an online teacher. And then when the companies fell through, you already had those connections, and that can carry you quite a ways, especially if you're leveraging referrals with the parents that you already have. And you can build a legitimate business off of that for sure. But even if you have referrals coming in, you still need to build trust and a relationship with those parents. And a lot of the teachers, I think, who are starting their businesses online tend to look at it maybe in a way that isn't as helpful. And I say that because I think that, from what I've seen, many teachers will, basically set up a sales page, and they'll, meet the new parents for the first time and say, here's the link to sign up for my classes. And or they'll jump into a Facebook group or something, and they'll just drop a link to here are my classes, here's my sales page. And one, very few people are going to click through it all. Those who do don't trust you and haven't really any reason to sign up with a class for you, and are going to bounce. And you're going to end up feeling quite frustrated. And so if you're going to have that kind of an issue with referrals, when there's already some transferred trust there, it's even more difficult if you're planning on sort of expanding out to other countries where maybe you don't have any connections yet, and you need to start. And so finding ways to sort of build, like it's a sales funnel, marketing funnel, but if that term is unfamiliar, or if you don't like that term, just basically a way of building trust, a series of steps that help move people from having no idea who you are to slowly sort of getting to know who you are and seeing that you're a trustworthy person, that you're not going anywhere, and that you are an expert in what you do and would be worth considering signing up for. And those series of steps would end with a sales page. And in between, you would have communication. You can have Facebook groups, WeChat groups. You can give away freebies. You can give away free video series lessons. You can do a free assessment. You can do free trial lessons. You can do workshops. You can do all kinds of things to sort of make for multiple touch points that people can they're not necessarily going to go through them in order. I had that problem once. I tried to set up, so I went through, and it doesn't work that way. It's more of like a, they should be able to connect to any of them in any direction. But you have all these touch points where, by the time that they've had a number of, touch points with you, they are then more willing and ready to sign up. And I don't know if I'm rambling, if I'm making any sense, but.
No, you definitely are. And this is, kind of basic marketing, in the sense that, you don't build a successful business off of, just setting everything up and, going with the mantra, if I build it, they will come. I mean, you need to be out there and, sharing content. Maybe it's a good time to start, creating some content around your teaching. If you're wanting to teach in another country, students from another country, or what have you, find out where those students hang out, and share value, add value. I mean, this YouTube channel is kind of an example of that, in that I spent years just creating content about online teaching, and then when I was ready to share something, then those that had kind of gotten value from what I had shared in the past already had the know, like, and trust. So I know it works. That's why I'm just reiterating. Good stuff. So, like, what are some practical steps? What can people do right now, maybe, to start that process? Like, how, if someone came to you and said, geez, I love my Chinese students, but I also really have a passion for teaching English to, refugees or Spanish learned kids that because I'm Spanish and I have that background, and I've always wanted to do that because I know that that's really in alignment with who I am and the actual expertise I have. How could they get started? What would you say? It's not a quiz.
I do think starting with something that you love, you're passionate about, have experience with, and digging into your past, into your interests, and finding something that you would really enjoy building a business around, and having an open mind about that. I think that a lot of teachers are maybe a little hung up on the whole ESL angle, because it's where they feel comfortable. And they know that market is there, and they have parents who are asking, and the idea of starting something new or different, teaching something different, may be a little scary. but it can also be, an avenue to creating something that you really, really love and are passionate about. And so I think finding some of those things in your past and, your interests, and kind of starting there, making a big list of ideas,
Mm.
and then getting some validation,
Mhm.
because the number one mistake that you can end up making, I don't know if it's number one, a mistake that you can end up making,
Yeah.
is, you build something and you go around looking for people to buy it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really work that way, and you have to be really careful not to do it. And I've done it, of course. I tend to like to beat my head against walls before I
For sure.
learn anything. And but it's really easy to do, and it's really frustrating and time consuming. And it's if you're going to try to run with an idea, you really do want to spend some time getting some validation. But I think people want to jump again to the sales page. They want to start making money now. Or,
Yeah.
it's like, I was like, I'll give you a month. It's like, and I want to
Yeah.
be, and it's just not the way it works. I mean, just like your show here, like, you had an idea, something you're passionate about, you started working with it. And,
Yeah.
through building that audience, you validated those ideas, and then were able to create something that met a very specific need that you knew existed with people that you had a relationship with. And that's the process. If you're out there to seek to serve, and if you start with that servant sort of mentality, it's really hard to go too far wrong. You
Mm.
just have to recognize that it takes time. It's not going to happen in a month or two. It's more likely going to be something like a 2 or 3 year kind of process, where
Mhm.
you are slowly, building an audience and seeing the kind of needs that are there, and pivoting in ways that put you in a position to meet that need in a unique way that really serves a particular audience. And when you can find that connection of something I'm passionate about, something that I have experiences with, that
Mm.
others also really need and want, then you can really um, do very well with an online business. And it's exciting and it's fun, and really the sky's the limit, because once you have kind of found that niche where that comes together, you can own that market in that
Mhm.
area, and online, and be
That's
that
right.
person that people go to for that thing.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be ESL, though. There are so many directions you can go with ESL. Just like you mentioned, I mean, like, if I'm
Mm.
seeking out Spanish speakers who are looking to do something specific, or if I know another language and I wanted to pivot towards teaching another language to English speakers who are wanting to travel, or there's a whole wide variety of options there that you could
Yeah.
pursue.
And I would also add that find out where they're hanging out, like Facebook groups, or it doesn't mean that you go in there and just start selling, but there's ways of,
Yeah,
gosh, all you need is maybe one student to get started. And just like it happens so easily with the Chinese market right now, it can happen outside of that. But you do need to build the know, like, and trust, build an audience and a reputation for helping, serving, adding value, authority in something, and then people will come to you when they want their questions answered, or they want help learning English and whatever it is.
that's right. And it's front loaded
So
work. Like, you're
yeah,
going to be putting a lot more work up front than you will need to put in later. And
yeah,
I think that's what a lot of people find challenging about it, is because you end up putting a lot of time and effort into it without seeing, big results for quite a while. And
yeah,
so, it's that sort of dip that Seth Godin talks about. It's those people who they start off excited, and then they hit the dip, and most people give up. And it's those people who push
yeah,
past that dip that end up being
yeah,
successful.
exactly. Carolyn's got a question here. Sorry, it's taken up the screen. That's a good one though. Well, comment: marketing yourself in areas that have a large population of Chinese immigrants living in the U.S. or other countries is a good place to market yourself. For me, I'm originally from Flushing, New York. Happens to be a very large Chinese community. I still have connections there, and will go to them to help me market in that community. Yeah, network, 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 she says, and think outside of the box when marketing, because
Mm.
you certainly can start with your own community that you've got, and past students that you've maybe taught in person. Those are all good things. Sandra, hello, Sandra Gordon from South Carolina. Carolyn had a question before that one about And I know the answer to this, but yes, can kid-inspired lessons be downloaded to use in class? And well, actually, is the answer yes?
I get a lot of questions about it. Generally speaking, the licensing agreement with the materials is that, you're using them personally, that you're not reselling it, repackaging and reselling stuff like that. And so as long as they are live in-person classes that you're using materials for, then it's fine. Just needs to be careful about using the materials in promotional content, and, the images and stuff like that are all
Yeah.
copyrighted. So yeah, I know that it's sort of difficult, I think, for teachers to understand maybe how all the licensing works. Generally, if you have any questions about it, just feel free to email me. But I am passionate about helping teachers and making it possible for them to do what they need to do,
Yeah.
as long as they recognize that it doesn't work if
Yeah.
if we don't all sort of respect and understand the kind of work that goes into it. And so that's,
I think that's a fair thing to say. And your curriculum, of one of the ones that I've shared about, is one of the only ones. Oh, there's a couple others maybe that have the downloadable feature, which teachers really do like. But I can certainly see it comes with a bit of a risk. I mean, but really,
I see the
risk out there
numbers.
with anything.
It's interesting, and it is always hard, because there are teachers who want to just go kind of like, I'm just going to download it all, I kind of run that risk with it. But at the same
do you get to
time,
track? Can you track? You can
yeah,
track.
you can see all the numbers and kind of what's happening, and that kind of stuff. There are times when I kind of have to email somebody and be like, can you be a little more careful? It actually causes a spike on the server, and there are times when
you can see who it is.
I can see all the details. Yeah,
Okay.
It happens. Possibly in the future may have to crack down on the number of downloads that can happen in a month or something like that. But currently, most of the teachers who are there are very respectful and want to be supportive, just as I want to be supportive of them. And so I feel like it's a very mutually understanding kind of environment and community. And I love the teachers that I get to serve and help. And so,
I would say 99.9% are good people, and the 0.001% that aren't, they're just doing themselves a disfavor. And in the long run,
exactly. And I don't want to, punish the entire community because of a few people who,
but it's a very interesting
dilemma. And honestly, I don't know there's a good answer to it. But I do know that when teachers say things like, I really appreciate your curriculum and the flexibility that it gives me to meet the needs of my students, and you've been having great classes, and that's why I do it. I love it. I love being able to be there for them and help out in that way. It's worth it.
Yeah. I think teachers are in it for the right reasons, and I hope you don't encounter any big problems with it. But I know that it's appreciated for people that do like to be able to download it and put it into their classroom, and only use it for their use and things like that. Which non-English speaking countries can we see now besides mainland China as a potential market currently, since mainland China did this change? Taiwan, maybe.
Many. Taiwan's awesome.
Yeah.
Taiwan is a wonderful market.
Yeah.
But I've had teachers say, well, what if China were to take over Taiwan? Like, well, that's possible. That would
They already
probably
did,
put a damper on it. But I think even if they did, it would be very stable, I think, for quite a while. I don't think they would make changes that quickly. But it's Korea, there's Malaysia, there's the Philippines, there's Indonesia.
Now the market prices are going to be lower. I mean, living in Thailand,
there are, but I think as long as you keep in mind that not everything you do has to be one-on-one tutoring. I built on independent-teacher.com. I actually built a little calculator to help teachers sort of think through some of the different variables of what to charge. And one of the variables in there is like how many students you have in a class. Because if you if your goal is to make $3,000-$4,000 a month or more, you can kind of put that into the calculator. And then if you're doing one-on-one, if you have to consider the marketing and the time that you put in the marketing and the preparation and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of comes out with like how much you should charge per hour. But as soon as you start putting in 3, 4, 5 students in small group classes, it becomes a lot easier for you to hit some of those goals. And yet you can still charge less to the students themselves. So I think there are a lot of ways in order you can set things up in order to make it more inexpensive for the students, while still making sure that you make enough that you enjoy your job. Because I've seen a lot of the teachers out there who are like, I can only charge $6, and it's like I'm packing stuff in back to back and I'm not preparing, and it's miserable. That's not a job that anybody I can imagine would actually want. And so if you're going to spend the time making an online teaching business, you might as well just create something that is going to help you enjoy the experience and to really connect with your students and make an impact on their lives. And you have to make enough in order to cover all of the time that goes into it. And so you have to charge enough. Fortunately, I think there's a wide variety of things that you can do. So it doesn't have to be just one-on-one tutoring where you charge $100 an hour. This doesn't all have to be like that. It can, but it doesn't have to be.
That's right. You think of say you were marketing in China, you could charge 10, even if you charge 10 or 15 and you've got 6 kids. I mean, what's that? That's like $75.
Yeah.
Hey, John, thank you so much for chatting with us. And Kid-Inspired, kid-inspired.com. Go check it out. It's an ESL curriculum and a level placement tool as well to help you figure out where to place your students. Lots of resources, language arts, grammar, some great stories, and he's got it nicely packaged into different units. So head on over there. And there's also your membership that I've put down there as well. That's independent teacher, right?
Yeah, there's 2 memberships. There's the ESL curriculum membership and then the independent teacher membership, and they each have their own respective website. And so Kid-Inspired is more the ESL curriculum side. Independent teacher is more of the support for teachers who are going independent. And the new interactive lessons that we're working on now will be included with the independent teachers membership. So if that's something teachers are interested in,
it's something I want to chat to you about sometime, because it's a route that I see myself going down one day. But anyway, thank you, John. I know it's late. Really appreciate you hanging out and adding value here with folks that are watching. And I think people were just enthralled because there's not a lot of questions. So there we go. But I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks again. Great to chat with you.
Appreciate you having me on, and always enjoy chatting with you. Appreciate what you do.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. You too, John. See ya.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. That was great. And again, all the links are down in the description of the video. So would love for you to check it out. And if you've got any questions about independent teaching, head on over to John's site. Ask him. He's a great guy helpful to answer your questions. And also you can reach out to me as well. So this is it. There won't be a live next Monday because I am planning on traveling. Things are not completely booked at the moment, but I'm working on a little holiday until the end of the year. So if I don't have one next week, it will be the week after. But I hope you all have a restful break, maybe take a few days off of teaching. I know I am for a week and looking forward to it. So thanks for being here, everyone. And I will see you in a couple weeks, same time, same place. Take care.